Hi everyone, and welcome to our review of Space Base. I like to do these reviews a little bit differently. I like to go through some of the categories that it's not just about what I like and don't like, what to expect, what are you going to find from the game. Let's start with a quick overview of the game. In Space Base, you are a Commodore looking for promotion to Admiral. You are building ships on sectors in space. You are activating those ships to gain rewards, to buy new ships, or to build colonies, all in the quest for victory points. The person who reaches 40 victory points first triggers the end of the game. All players get an equal number of turns, and the person who has the most victory points at the end wins the game. Theme. Is there actually a theme to this game? Not really. You're buying spaceships. There's spaceship art. Beyond that, if you were to compare it with similar games like Bad Company, Machikoro, it's about the same level of theme. I think maybe Bad Company has a little bit more theme than Space Base. Essentially, it's a mechanical game. You're buying activations and rewards, putting them down on your board, rolling dice, activating, getting the reward. It's fun because you're not hanging around. But theme-wise, do I feel like a Commodore? About as much as I feel like a nuclear physicist in my day-to-day work, and I'm not a nuclear physicist. Is there anything you could do to make the game more thematic? I suppose you could play some background music. You might want to dress up as a Commodore. Other than that, not really. There is in the expansions a campaign which adds a little bit of story. That would help with the theme a little bit, make you feel that you are progressing somewhat. Otherwise, it just feels like a race game where first person to 40 points wins. So let's go to the rules. How complex are the rules? How long do they take to learn? Are they easy to learn? Is it well written? The answer to these are generally yes. It is a well written, easy to read rulebook. There are plenty of examples that are shown within the rulebook. It's produced in a logical manner. If there's one thing I hate, it's rulebooks that are all over the place and you're flipping backwards and forwards to try and figure out how the game flows. This rulebook, very, very straightforward. It explains how the game works as an overview, and then it gives you detailed step-by-step instructions on each action. The iconography is very, very simple to pick up. There's no really major rules questions. Some things about timing. You might have a question, hey, when do I activate this red ability? This card goes from blue to red. What's a green ability versus a blue or red ability? A few little wrinkles like that. But there's not a lot to the game. You roll 2 dice, you choose either to activate 2 numbers or the sum of those numbers and get your rewards. And then when it's your turn, you can take a buy action. There's really not a lot to learn. You can teach the game to others very, very quickly. 15-20 minutes of teach and with showing them examples and you're good to go. You can run through a game together. Playing it on BGA, super simple. Game keeps track of absolutely everything. So once you know which buttons to press and what to click to do what, you're good to go. Same with live play. A quick read through the rule book and you're good to go. Components. How are the components of the game? Obviously here we're talking about the physical game. Physical game has cards. One thing I will say about the cards, if you're like me, an obsessive sleever, you like to stick everything in plastic, then you're going to curse and swear a little bit because the cards are a really weird shape, which means you've got to hunt for those sleeves that are going to fit those cards. You've got a few transparent cubes, you've got the player boards, which are not double-sided. You are sliding things under the boards a lot, and it's very, very easy for those boards to shift slightly and bury one of your cards, and then suddenly you're thinking, well, I used to get 5 income on this sector, how am I now only getting 2? Well, the other card's buried under your mat, that's why. That's a little bit annoying. It can be a little bit fiddly in that sense, especially when you've sleeved everything and the cards are slippery. Otherwise, no other major components. It's a bunch of cards, a few boards, and you're stacking cards on those boards, a few cubes to put down. It doesn't take up a huge amount of space. Components, they do the job. They're not amazing, but they do the job. And there's a single card for first player. There's no token for first player marker. You only need to record it for everyone having the same number of turns at the end of the game. So let's get to gameplay. Gameplay. How does the game play? How long does it take to play? How much time does it take to set up? Set up. One of the things I hate the most about games is complicated setups. Space Base takes around 10 minutes to set up. You're handing each player a board, handing them their pack of starting cards. You put those in sequence order on the board. You set up the market, which is shuffling 3 decks of cards, putting 6 face up for each level 1, 2 and 3 cards, and you're pretty much good to go. Put your cubes in a easy to get place, maybe give each player a set of dice, and you're good to go. It's 10 minutes. Gameplay itself, online on BGA, in 15 minutes you can play a game. Live, there's a bit more manual stuff, refreshing the market, things that BGA does, the BGA adaptation does for you automatically. That's probably going to take you 25 minutes to play a game instead of 10 to 15. So it's a little bit longer because you're fiddling around with stuff, forgetting to refill the market until you go to buy something, small little things like that. Teardown time, that's probably, it's a short game, so you're going to want to play more than one. If you and a few friends have gathered together for a couple of games, you can easily play 3-4 games of Space Base in 2 to 3 hours. But you've got to reset each time. Now on BGA, you find a new game, bing, and there you go. It's all done for you. The wonders of modern technology. Yay, I love it. The physical version is a little bit more tricky. It's a little bit more tricky. You've got to remove the cards that you've bought. You've got to sort them out. You've got to reshuffle decks. You've got to fish out your starting cards, put them back in order. It's a little bit more flapping about than the online version. You're probably going to spend another 10 minutes. If everybody gets the pitches in, 10 minutes, you've reset and you're ready to go. It's not, this is not a big thing. It's sorting cards into decks, reshuffling those decks, putting them out, and resetting your player board with your 12 starting cards. That's all. 10 minutes and you're good to go. So what about playing the game itself? Is there a lot of downtime? Do you have to wait for your turn to come around? No, not at all. That's one of the beauties of Space Base. You are active the whole time, because when your opponent is rolling dice, you're activating your deployed sectors, your red sectors. When it's your turn, you're activating the blue ones, and your opponents are activating the red sectors. So people are always looking to see what's happening, who's rolled what sectors gathering their resources, keeping track of their credits, etc. Anything wrong with the game? No, not really. It plays perfectly fine. It's a very enjoyable game. It's one I like to teach to people either just getting into board gaming. It's very, very easy to teach. You roll 2 dice, you buy something, you stick it down, you roll some dice, you get some stuff, you buy something else. They're always engaged. They're not waiting a long time while people do big turns. Yes, experienced players are going to have a bit more of an advantage. They're going to do better in the game than beginner players. So you want to take it easy. If you've played it a lot, you want to take it easy on the new players that you're bringing in. But apart from that, this is a great gateway game. You're always engaged. You're playing. You're not sat there thinking, oh my goodness, is that person going to take forever to take their turn? There isn't really that much analysis paralysis. There isn't that much deep thought. You can look at the market and say, well, if I purchase this turn, what can I get next turn? That's a lot less relevant at higher player counts because different cards are being snapped up so quickly. You're just looking at the market and saying, what's the best card for me to buy at this point? So there shouldn't be too much thinking involved in the game. Rules are easy to teach. Everybody gets involved all the time. That makes it a great game. So what other games might you like to play if you enjoy Space? Well, if you're playing real life, if you're playing the physical versions, you might want to pick up Bad Company. It's very, very similar to Space. Also adds a little board. It's got a robbery theme where you are doing your best to make a heist and escape the police. You're building your gang of crooks with different skills and trying to avoid getting caught by the police as you go around. It's got a nice little board element to it, some components to move around, and it handles 6 players out the box, whereas Space does 5. The expansions adds a 6th player. So there's definitely Bad Company. Machikoro is kind of the granddaddy of those games. I've not played Machikoro, but it scratches a very similar itch. If you're into the idea of a game being a race to a number of points and building an engine, then you might want to try out something like Res Arcana, and that's quite similar. Or alternatively, you could also try Nar, which is a race to 40 points as well. You're building an engine. You're not rolling dice, but you are purchasing cards out of the market, purchasing lands that you've explored, which gives you certain benefits and lets you build an engine as well. There is some similarities there, and both players are racing to first to 40 points. Again, if you enjoy that type of a game, you could check out either of those 2 games. Now, if you're playing on BGA, Nar is available on BGA, Res Arcana is available on BGA. There is unfortunately Bad Company and Machikoro are not available on BGA, but certainly you could try out those 2 I've mentioned as great race element games. If you like engine builders, if you just like engine builders in general, then something like Forest Shuffle might interest you. If you also like a race to points, Sea Salt and Paper might be another good one for you as well. So plenty of options on BGA too. Slightly different, you're not just rolling dice and activating sectors, but games with a similar feel where it's building an engine to generate points, and the first to get the most points wins. So where would I put this game? Where would I rate it? You've got to have a number, right? You've got to put a number on something, even though this is a completely subjective thing and it's just my opinion. And I'm trying to explain to you what it's like, how the game plays, whether this is something you can easily teach to your friends or not. I would give this on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being burn this at the stake and 10 this is the best thing since somebody put food in between 2 pieces of bread, then I'm going to give Space a solid 8.5. This is easy to get to the table. This is a game that is easy to teach. This is a game that I can buy, read the rulebook and be ready to go in maybe 30 minutes. There's not much setup time, there's not much tear down time. The components are not amazing, but they do the job more than adequately. I just wish they'd used a decent normal sized card. This is a game that people are going to be engaged with the whole time. Nobody's waiting for their turn. Nobody's getting bored. Nobody's going to spend hours agonizing over what's the most efficient purchase in the market. And this is a game that you can play a few times in an evening. So it's not somebody's first time and they've just been crushed and then they've got to wait 3 months to play the game. By that time they've forgotten it all over again. This is something that we can play 3 or 4 times in a row. We can drink and eat, have a laugh, and even if luck goes against you, because there is an element of luck in this game, even if luck goes against you, doesn't matter, because in 20-30 minutes we finished, we reset it in 10 minutes and we can play again, and maybe this time Lady Luck will be sat beside you instead of laughing in your face. So there it is from me, Space Base 8.5, give it a try on BGA. It's easy to find a game on BGA. There's lots and lots of people playing it because it's a nice, fun game, simple to learn, quick to play. Give it a go. And that's my review of Space Base. Have a great day out there.